Hi, it's KCCK's Culture Crawl. I'm Dennis Green, and my guest today is Brian Glick from Revival Theater Company. Welcome, Brian.
Thanks for having me.
And you've got a big one.
Yeah.
Big boat, big musical.
Everything you can think of big. Yes. Yes.
And I consider myself, somewhat well-versed in keeping up on musical theater.
Right.
I did not know there was a Titanic musical.
There is, and it's one of those things where it came out the same year as the movie. So it got a bit.
Wow! So it's been around for a while.
Yeah, I got a bit overshadowed by the movie, and but still well received. The musical, plenty of awards, had a good long run and tours. So, but if you're not a theater connoisseur, and even if you are, like you said, it might be off the radar.
Right, yeah. And now more than 20 years. More than 20 years
exactly.
ago, too. So
yeah.
So it's coming up. You're going to do it at TCR.
Yeah.
This is a big. I said big boat, big musical. This is a big show because I checked your website before we started the interview just to kind of peruse the details and the cast, and I kept looking at the cast and then more cast and more cast and
keep
more
scrolling,
cast.
keep scrolling.
Yes,
yes, it is. It's we've every year almost, except for during 2020, we've done what we call our concert shows. They're really not concert. I mean, they're like a full-blown production. But we say that because there is a full orchestra on stage. We have a 15-piece. And then we have a full volunteer chorus of about 40 singers. So it kind of gives that concert feel format. And yeah, I mean, in the cast, we have about 30 performers. So it's, I think total with orchestra, we're pushing 80-some people on stage. So it's very tight.
Yeah, and that's the TCR stage,
yes.
Which, while roomy, we're not talking the Paramount.
We're not talking the Paramount, and we were originally going to do it at the Paramount when we were going to do it in February, and then Omicron sort of shifted those things, and those dates weren't available. So we're happy to be at TCR. They've been great hosts, so we're looking forward to it. But yes, we had to do some rearranging, and we have the pit covered up, so that gives us a few more feet. Not much, but a little bit.
So is this, so then you mentioned that it's kind of an in-concert presentation because you got the orchestra right there. How much staging, costume, and all that?
We're doing the whole, we're doing more than we typically do, but if you've seen our shows in the past, like Evita or Ragtime or Oklahoma, you sort of get an idea. It allows us to break some rules and do some set, but not the full, every single scene doesn't need a piece of scenery sort of set up. But we are doing a little bit more just because it is sort of an epic piece, and so we feel the costume represent a lot, and some of the props and set pieces.
But it came out at the same time as the movie, not the movie.
It is not, and Maury Yesson did the score, and he sort of has this unfortunate history with this. He also wrote a show called Phantom, which is not Phantom of the Opera, and it came out the same year as Weber's Phantom of the Opera. So he unfortunately has this track of getting sort of being put under the radar because the movie Titanic comes out or Andrew Lloyd Webber's Phantom of the Opera comes out, and so but his music is beautiful, and he's done the musical 9, which some people have heard of, or Grand Hotel based on the movie. So but his music is lush, and it's got a mix of sort of opera and musical theater mixed in, and boy, the sound with that many singers, it's just, we've done a lot of great stuff, and Cameron does a fantastic job on building a beautiful sound. But boy, this is like when we record something, we have to adjust the levels because it just like overpowers. So and we also have a mix of musical theater and opera singers. So the mix just is really exciting.
Oh, yeah. So tell me a little bit more about that during the the audition and the figuring out the cast process. Looking through those. You kind of have a core group who you tend to work with.
Yeah.
And again, but there's that mix. So how were you aware? Were you thinking of that as you and Cameron were doing the audition, saying, all right, we need to, we want to have a certain balance of more opera talent versus musical talent? Or is it just a happy accident? Pick the best people and let the chips fall where they may?
A little bit of both. There's some shows that are on our list to do, and this is one of them that's been on the season playlist for some time, but it's like we knew it. All the guys sing a G, and if anyone knows what that is, it's high, and so it's like we need a mix of strong tenors. And as you know, that can be hard to come by. And so yes, we had to be somewhat selective in what we're choosing. And because it's the story of the Titanic, there are a lot of men involved, as well as women, but a lot of men figures, prominent figures. So yes, it was somewhat planned out and being very specific on what we were looking for.
I know that for the color purple, you had people coming from around the country to participate in the show. Do you have some out of local area talent for this too?
98% of it is local. We have a couple from out of town, someone from New York and one from Chicago. So not as many as Color Purple, but yes, it's always great to have a mix and build that base.
Well, that really speaks to the reputation that Revival is gaining, like Orchestra Iowa, like the Cedar Rapids Opera Theater, that people in who are making their living as singers in other cities go, oh yeah, they got a cool thing going on in Cedar Rapids. That'd be a good place to do a show.
It is, and like the opera community and the symphonic world, it's a small community, and so you do a show and they tell their friend, and then you get a message saying, hey, do you have auditions coming up? And so it's important that that's helpful, and that those people have a great experience here. And I think Color Purple cast keeps sending me messages saying we miss Cedar Rapids, and that they love the popcorn company.
Oh,
they keep getting popcorn delivered to their wherever they live in the country and send me pictures. So I think that's funny.
So now there are a lot of, as I said, familiar faces, people that I've known for a long time.
Yeah.
And I know it's hard to figure out among this giant cast who to mention and who not to. But mention just a few of the, who some of the familiar faces are going to be, and and what those parts look like. Because again, a lot of people familiar with the story, but not the musical. I mean, who are the main characters?
Yeah. So one of the biggest differences is there is no Jack and Rose character. Many people don't know that those were made up characters in the movie. And one of the great
spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. I'm so sorry. Yeah. That one of the beautiful things about the show, other than the score, is all of the characters are fact. They're all factual people. There is no Molly Brown in our show, and simply put, the creators said she already has her own show. She doesn't need to be put in another one. So that's pretty much why. But our core group is Rob Merritt is playing Thomas Andrews, the architect, and then Steve Rezabek, who's done theater for years around here, is playing Bruce Ismay, the owner of the Titanic. And then Greg Smith is playing Captain Smith. That was not planned in terms of last name. But those are our core three. And then we have Catherine Blades, who's done Broadway and TV and commercials. And she's back to play the role of Kate. And there's a story of the three Kates. There are three Kates who showed up, who are all three Irish, on the boat and developed a friendship while there. So the closest thing to the Rose character is probably Catherine's character, but it is not the same. And she falls in love with a man on the boat named Jim Farrow, played by Sage Spiker. And so it's not the same, but there is a love connection.
There is a doomed romance.
There is a doomed However, they both live.
Oh, okay.
So it's not a spoiler. You can look it up. But yeah, so it's not the same, but it's this. My mom goes, "Who are the Jack and Rose characters?" I said, "Well, there's not, but if you had to choose two, those would be the closest." And there's also no Celine Dion. My Heart Will Go On in the show. I'm so sorry to break that to people.
Well, you're not. Yeah.
Yes.
You just sold me a ticket. Right
yes,
there,
exactly. Yeah. If you want to see if that's in the show, buy a ticket. But it is not. So yeah, they're. And then I'm trying to think of some other people. Jan McCool's in the show. She's done shows around the theater for the community for years. And a plethora of others who are either new to us, but not necessarily new to the community, or new to us altogether, and people that I haven't seen in 4 or 5 years because of the pandemic. So it's been really nice. And some of the people who we're working with were supposed to do shows in 2020, and then that got canceled. So It's nice, and I have to tell you, we're really lucky to work with so many great people every time we do a show. But to have this many people and everyone just really clicks, and the talent is through the roof, it's exciting.
Well, you and I were involved with the Follies
Yes.
for years and years, and that was this same kind of big extended family.
Yeah.
And so many familiar. There you go. Oh, yep. Did the Follies with him? Did the Follies
Yep.
with her? Did the Follies? Oh, gosh, remember when she was 6 years old? and
Yes,
we did the
exactly.
Follies together. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's there's a great sense of community with that, and to have an orchestra and a chorus and all those people on stage is really special and unique. And I think that's why people have grown to love this experience, because it's extremely visceral. I mean, we keep using the word epic, and it really is. I mean, it's like you're just hit with so much, and that's exciting.
Well, the size of this cast plus putting the orchestra on stage, this has got to be about the most full the Theatre Cedar Rapids stage has perhaps ever been.
Yeah, I mean, as far as I know,
I can't think of any. I can't think of anything. I mean, I think of casts that have been this big, but not on stage orchestra quite so much.
Yeah, so I think that's also exciting for TCR and the conversations we've had. That it'll be exciting to have that presented on their stage. So, yeah.
So Titanic the Musical, not the movie, although spoiler alert, the boat sinks.
That's right. Well,
and it's coming up the weekend of the 23rd?
Yeah, 23rd through the 25th. There are 4 shows over the course of 3 days. There's 2 shows on the Saturday the 24th, 2:30 matinee, and opening night is close to selling out. So I think it's going to be a full run, so I would not wait to get those tickets.
All right, and people can get them and also spend an hour perusing the pictures of all the people in the cast at your website, which is?
revivaltheatercompany.com. And also, of course, you can go to the TCR box office, call, or walk up in person to get them there as well.
All right. Well, Brian, it's a huge amount of moving parts.
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations on getting everything pulled together, and gosh, good luck with this epic run.
Yeah, thank you.
Again, revivaltheatercompany.com if you'd like to get tickets. You can hear the Culture Crawl live on the radio many weekdays at 10:20, or download the podcast, watch or listen on your own schedule at kcck.org/culture, or however you get your podcasts. I'm Dennis Green, and I'll talk to you later.